We are on page 101 of this volume 8. The source in the meaning of the mitzvah of tzitzit. We're going to discuss some great things today, B'ezrat Hashem. So let's start. The Torah clearly tells us it's a parasha that we are very much familiar with because we say it every single day in Shachrit and during Arvit and Kriyat Shema Lamita. Daber el bnei Yisrael ve'amarta alehem. Hashem says to Moshe to speak to Bnei Israel and speak to them, say to them, instruct them, ve'asu lahem tzitzit, to make for themselves tzitzit fringes, al kanfei bigdeihem ledorotam, on the corners of their garments throughout the ages. V'natenu tzitzit hakana petil techelet, and let them attach a petil techelet, a cord of blue, to the fringe. Ve'haya lachem tzitzit, this shall be your tzitzit, uritem oto, and you will look at it, uzchartem kol mitzvot Adonai, and you shall recall all the mitzvot of Hashem, v'asitem otam, and you shall observe them. So that you should not follow your heart and your eyes, in your lustful urge. You should be reminded to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your God. So that is the main parasha of Tzitzit. However, Tzitzit is referenced later on again in Sefer Devarim, in Parashat Ki Tetzeh, where the Torah tells us, Gedilim ta'aseh lach al arba kanfot kesutecha asher techaseba, that you shall make gedilim, tassels, on the four corners of your garment, asher techaseba, that you cover yourself. Okay, so now the first section speaks about the reason of the mitzvah being as a constant reminder, and the question becomes, which is going to be addressed by the Sefer Chinuch, how does the tzitzit remind us of all of the mitzvot? Why is the tzitzit different than, for example, a lulav or tzedakah, in this concept of reminding us of the mitzvot? So we move on to source number 3. The Sefer Chinuch writes, Shoresh ha-mitzvah nigla b'katuv, the root of the mitzvah is explained, shehi leman niskor kol mitzvot Hashem tamid, so that we will remember all the mitzvot constantly, always. Ve'en davar ba'olam yoter tov lezikaron kemo nose hotam adonav kavua biksuto asher chaseh bo tamid. Big chidush here, he says. There is nothing in the world that can be a better reminder than actually bearing the signature of one's master upon you, affixed to your clothing. Better than a daily reminder from your phone, or on your Google Calendar, or someone knocking on your door. There is nothing more, influential in this idea of remembering the mitzvot than having a signature of HaKadosh Baruch Hu on you, which is the tzitzit. In other words, wearing the tzitzit is like having the chotam of Hashem. Ve'enav libo alav kol hayom, and he sees and feels this all day. This is the meaning of the pasuk, which says, "He shall recall all the commandments of Hashem." The Midrash says, that the word tzitzit alludes to the 613 mitzvot. Because the gematria of tzitzit is 600, you add the 8 strings, you add the 5 knots, and then you get 613. And this mitzvah is practiced by males in every place and all times. Okay, so there's a great chidush by the Sefer Mitzvot informing us how exactly that works. Because when you have something on your body, okay, then it's a reminder. Le'avdil me le'avdil, okay? Somebody that wants to remind themselves of a moment in their lives, or something bad or something good, and they put a tattoo on their body. That's what they would do nowadays. Okay? So they would say, okay, here's something, I'm ketovet ka'aka on my body, which is asur. Okay? And they do, look, I remember, what's this mean? And they give the whole reason, this, what my father once did to me, once threw me a football when I was 4 years old, and I'll never forget that, so therefore I got a football on my right arm. And just giving to them, because they want to remember that moment. So we want to remember all the mitzvot. How do we do that? By wearing the tzitzit. You have something to ask? No?
Yes.
Yeah.
So why don't we do a Yashana? Put them out.
Wow, okay, you're right, you're jumping. The question is,
The idea is to see it.
The question is, 100%, the question is, that was asked, because I have to repeat the question for those watching online, is why don't we do like the Ashkenazim, which put out the tzitzit the tassels outside and display the tassels. I'm going to ask a better question. Why don't we put the whole tzitzit above our clothing? Okay? You know who says that we should do that? The Shulchan Aruch says that we should put the tzitzit above our clothing. We're going to get that today. All right. So your question we're going to address later on, but it is a good question. But the Shulchan Aruch actually says put the whole tzitzit. That's the meaning. Well, otherwise, how do you know who you are? Well, you're covering you got to be proud of your sign that you're wearing. So that's the Shulchan Aruch, which we'll see. But we'll see according to the Kabbalists, that's not what we follow, and most people hold of that, of course, as we know. But let's look at the Gemara in Masechet Shabbat. The Gemara in Masechet Shabbat says, Amari Shakish, Kol hazahir besisit zoche umshamshin lo shnei alafim ushmoneh meot abadim. Anyone who is vigilant in performing the mitzvah of tzitzit merits that 2,800 servants will serve him in Olam Haba. Shneimar, as the pasuk says, Ko amar Adonai tzevaot bayamim ahayema. So said Hashem, in those days, asher yachziku asara nashim mikol leshonot hagoyim, where 10 men shall take hold of all the other languages of the nations, and we know that there are 70 nations, so 10 times 7 equals 700. Ve'echziku bichnaf ish Yehudi lemor nelcha imachem, and they're going to hold each corner of the garment of the Jew and saying we will go with you. So if 700 are holding one corner of the garment, and you multiply that by 4, so you have 2,800 avadim. Okay, that are accompanying you, okay, to Gan Eden and Olam Haba. Okay, obviously there's deep Kabbalistic concepts to this Gemara. I did find one, not that I can really explain it well, but the Kaf HaChaim brings, not the Kaf HaChaim, sorry, the Ben Ish Chai brings down in Ben Yoyada the concept of 700. That 700 is that when a person fulfills the mitzvah of talit katan and talit gadol, he's fulfilling the tikkun asira, the tikkun of the world of asiya and yetzira, or yetzira and asiya, which is where there are 4 worlds. Asiya is the most basic world, the world of action, and then you have yetzira, the world of formation, and then you have beriah and atzilut. Those are the 4 worlds. So the lower 2 worlds, when a person wears a tzitzit, he is really acting in fulfilling what needs to be done in those 2 worlds. And the gematria of Asiya and Yetzirah is 700. Okay, so that's where he says that. I would probably seem because a person has to make the tzitzit, so that might be the Yetzirah part, and then the Asiya is the actual action of wearing it. So that's just my own thing. There's probably deeper importance to what the Ben Ish Chai is saying over there. Another Gemara in Masechet Menachot, here in source number 5, Tanya Idach, Uritem oto uzchartem et kol mitzvot Hashem. Pasuk says, so that you shall look upon him and remember all the mitzvot of Hashem. So here the Gemara says, Shekula mitzvah zu keneged kol mitzvot kulan. Wearing tzitzit is so important that it is considered equivalent to all the mitzvot in the Torah. Betanya Idach, and another Braita said, Uritem oto uzchartem va'asitem. Re'iyah mevi'ah lidei zechira. Looking at the tzitzit brings you to remembering the tzitzit, and zechira mevi'ah lidei asiyah. And then remembering the tzitzit, or remembering the mitzvot, leads you to actually performing the mitzvot. Okay, so the Gemara continues. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai Omer, on top of page 103, Kol hazariz b'mitzvah zu, anyone who is diligent in this mitzvah, zochem kabed penei shechina, he is going to merit to receive HaKadosh Baruch Hu's divine presence. Ketiv hacha uritemoto, by tzitzit it's written, and you shall look upon it. Uchtiv hatam, and where another pasuk it says, Et Hashem Elohecha tira ve'oto ta'avud. Okay, so just like one pasuk is in reference to Hashem's Shekhinah, so too the tzitzit is in reference to Hashem's Shekhinah. Okay? Good. So there is a nice little introduction to the mitzvah of tzitzit. We saw 2 sources, the main one being in Shema, the other one being in Kitetzeh. We spoke about the reason behind it, the shoresh of the mitzvah, that it acts as a chotam, as a reminder, a signature of HaKadosh Baruch Hu on us. And when we saw some nice statements of our Chachamim in the Gemara about tzitzit. Now, moving on to the next part of tzitzit, on page 104, which discusses, do we have an actual obligation to wear tzitzit? Do we have an obligation to wear tzitzit? So, now, you might think that if I have a 4-cornered garment, I have to put tzitzit on. That we know. But does that mean I have to put on a four-cornered garment with tzitzit? And because let's face it, when you go up into the mall today, or if you want to buy your clothing online or on Amazon, they're not selling four-cornered garments. It's something you really have to buy specifically for the mitzvah of tzitzit. Maybe in the olden days they may have had it, but today it definitely doesn't have it. So, is it acceptable to refrain from wearing such a garment and not fulfilling the mitzvah of tzitzit? So let's look at the Gemara, Masechet Menachot, Mem Aleph, source number 6. So Gemara says, Mal'acha ashkachel lerav katina de michse sadina. An angel saw Rav Katina who was wearing a linen cloak, and a linen cloak is exempt from tzitzit. Amale, and the angel said to him, Katina, Katina. Called him twice. We're going to see why. Sadina bekaita vesarbela bisuta. If you wear a linen cloak in the summer and a sarbela, which is like a winter coat, in the winter, tzitzit shel techeret ma teheh alea. What's going to become of the mitzvah of tzitzit? Meaning you're never going to wear it. If your whole thing is I can't wear this. I need to wear this linen in the summer, which is patur from tzitzit. I got to wear this sarbela, which is patur of tzitzit in the winter. So when are you going to perform the mitzvah of tzitzit? So Amalei. So he answered him, Anshitu ayaseh. Do you punish us even for failing to fulfill a positive mitzvah? Meaning he says, okay, so I didn't fulfill a positive mitzvah. I didn't knowingly respect my parents today. So am I going to get punished for that? If I had the opportunity and I didn't, maybe it's something else. But why am I going to be punished? Are you telling me I'm going to be punished? So that's what he's answering the angel. Amar lei, the angel said to him, Bisman de'ika ritcha anshinan. That when Hashem is upset, when there's divine anger in the world, yes, we punish a person for failure to fulfill a positive mitzvah. Hachi kamale. This is what the angel was telling him. Titztakel lemiftar nafshach misisit. Are you employing tactics to exempt yourself from performing the mitzvah of tzitzit? Right? In other words, what are you trying to do? You're trying to escape the mitzvah. You have an opportunity here to do it. Why don't you do it? So I saw in the Ben Ish Chai over here, he brings down why the angel referred to him by his name twice. Katina, Katina. Why call him twice? So I'll read you what he says. Hadikru bishmo velo od. That was he called him by his name, and not only that, ela shekafal shemon, that he doubled his name. I think the reason is ki ha'adam bayom hu gadol b'mitzvot. When a person during the day is big in mitzvot, he has a lot of opportunities to do mitzvot. Ubalayla katan b'mitzvot, but at night he doesn't have. Ki rova mitzvot enam nasim ela bayom, because most mitzvot we do are during the day. Davka, bayom davka, velo balayla, and not at night. Umichalam hi mitzvah tzitzit. And one of these mitzvot that we get to do during the day and not at night is tzitzit. We're going to see that later today as well. Therefore he told him, you are exempting yourself of the mitzvah of tzitzit during the day. We understand at night, but even during the day, you are small. You're small in mitzvot in the day, and you're also small at night. That was his lashon of calling him katina, lashon katan twice. Okay, a very, very nice explanation of Ben Ish Chai. Okay, so let's look at the Rambam says. Rambam says in Hilchot Tzitzit, Per Gimel, Halacha Yud Aleph, even though a person is not obligated to buy a talit and wear it and wrap himself in it, in order to put on tzitzit, it's not proper for a Hasid to exempt himself and release himself from this mitzvah. But he should always try to be wrapped in a garment which requires tzitzit, so that he is able to fulfill this mitzvah. And the Shulchan Aruch here codifies this as halacha as well. So Shulchan Aruch says in Siman Kav Daled Sif Aleph, Im en adam lovesh talit bat arba knafot eno chayav tzitzit. If a person does not wear a garment that has four corners, he's not chayav tzitzit. But it's still very good and appropriate for a person to wear at least a talit katan every day, so that he remembers the mitzvot at every moment. The Kaf HaChaim here says, I have a few points on the Kaf HaChaim. He says, not only that, but a person will be forfeiting his olam haba. Because every time a person wears tzitzit, he is fulfilling 5 different leshonot. There's 5 different phrases that speak about tzitzit in the Torah, and therefore you're not doing them. And all this is going to help you go to olam haba. What are the 5 phrases? Ve'asu lahem tzitzit, ve'natenu tzitzit, uritem oto, ve'achem tzitzit, and gedilim ta'aseh. Right? So those are the 5 times we mentioned tzitzit. You would be fulfilling this every time you wear it. You choose not to, and therefore you are, God forbid, could be costing you your olam haba. He also writes over here, Gam yizayeh la'asot talit na'eh. Make sure to buy or wear a beautiful talit. Mishum ze eli v'anvehu. Because we have a mitzvah, ze eli v'anvehu, this is my God, and I will glorify him, and I'll beautify him. Right? It's in reference to the mitzvot. Obviously, we don't glorify Hashem, but we don't beautify God. God's not physical, but this mitzvot we do. We buy a nice lulav, we buy a nice etrog, nice sukam, and a nice tzitzit as well. But look what he says over here towards the end. Something I thought was very interesting. He seems to be giving musar. He quotes Ve'arav Orchot Yosef. He's here harbe. He warned a lot. Le'inyan hakibus sheichabes oto kebam bepam kedesh yeh meluban. That a person should be laundering his talit every so often so that it seems white. And not only that, he says, the katav sham, the kama me'agnut ve'abusha. He says, it's really embarrassing, and gnut, it's degrading. Lemi shemitlabesh malbushim na'im. He walks around wearing very nice clothing, nice shirt, tie, suit, whatever, shoes, make sure he's got the top clothing. Kasher tasig yado, whatever his hand can afford. Ve'atalit, balui ve'karua. His talit is worn out, it's ripped, it's got holes, it's got stains, coffee stains, wine stains, orisa stains, okay? Yilbash busha, ve'itatef klima. It's embarrassing that this is what he's walking around. He says you should be worried that God will take vengeance on you. God forbid. So why? Because you're choosing your own personal clothing over the clothing of God. Remember, this is Hashem's signature. This is God's signature on you. So you want to, you're wearing it, but you're wearing one with stains and ripped. Many of them don't even fulfill the halakha properly because they don't cover the majority of your body. We're not going to get into that, but that's a big issue. To wear talit that covers your body, that's a concept of itatef. Okay, so that's what he says. Now, I have one more here, but I think this is yes. So that same halakha aleph, that we quoted from Shulchan Aruch. It's not fully quoted here, but on that halacha, the Shulchan Aruch says the nachon the wording is nachon lelovso al hamalbushim. It is best and proper to wear it on top of your clothing. So here, the Kaf HaChaim says the ikar mitzvah talit katan lelovso begadav. Omnam kvar katvani Sham, I've already written in other places, the data ariv achronim, the talit katan tzarich lelovso lemata mishal malbushav. Okay, al gabe chalukot. So you have to wear it underneath your clothing, but above your undergarment. Ve'alovesh hakol begadav hu ta'ut gadol hefech ha'emet. And someone that wears the tzitzit above all of his clothing, it's a big mistake and opposite of the truth of what should be done. So the question is, what did the Shulchan Aruch mean when he said that? I haven't seen an answer. Maybe he meant the undergarments. Okay. Now the idea of the undergarments, which I don't think we're going to address in this shiur or in future shiurim, is you want to avoid the tzitzit from touching parts of your body that are normally covered. Okay. So the best way to do that would be to wear some sort of undershirt, certainly underpants. But if you are sure that the actual fringes are not going to touch any part of the body, then the beged can touch your skin.
So you're not a fan of the t-shirt tzitzit then?
Well, that's the t-shirt tzitzit. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Not everybody holds of this idea. But if you are going to be makbid, just make sure that the strings are not touching parts of your body that should be covered. But yeah, as we see, there are many people that do wear the t-shirt tzitzit as part of their everyday attire. Okay, Let's look at Rav Moshe Feinstein in the Igrot Moshe in number 9. He says, again, even though there's no obligation to wear a garment that subject to sisit, but rather, if you are wearing a four-cornered garment and you don't wear it, then you are transgressing an aseh. Mikol makom, nevertheless, kevan shenagu kol Yisrael lilbosh beged hachaya b'sisit, asur leshum adam la'avor hazeh. Since the practice is to wear this garment, no one is allowed to violate this. Delo gara mikol minhag. It's no less important than any minhag. And more, this is actually fulfillment of a positive commandment. The concept of hear the discipline of your father and don't forsake the Torah of your mother. So Moshe Feinstein has very strict words over here that you wouldn't be allowed. It's asur not to. While the Rambam, the Shulchan Aruch, just said tov v'nachon or be a hasid to wear it, Moshe Feinstein saying asur not to wear it, and every person has to walk around with the sisit. Says the Piskei Teshuvot, va'afilu bisman shekasher lalechet betalit katan, even during times where it might be difficult to walk around in a talit katan, kigon beyom sharaf, like in a very a heat wave, or shat avodah, or he's in a hard word mefarechet, or be'et shemitamel, or physical labor or exercising, and lehasid talit katan. He should not remove the talit katan. There is a note here at the bottom that's quoting the name of David Sperling, that although it's preferable to wear tzitzit while exercising, if the tzitzit may get ruined, even if they are laundered afterwards, one may remove them. All right, so this was added. This was added before. Okay. Any questions? Yes.
I heard that a blanket that has four corners, there's a question if you should put six aside because you're wrapping yourself on it. Let's say you're lying in the couch and you're wrapping yourself.
Yeah.
Or watching TV or whatever. You should be watching TV, but whatever. Is that? I'm going to get to that.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Yeah, I think that's the next thing.
Shiur Gimel? No, that's in reference to do you need to wear it at night?
I think that's considered like Kesut Laila. If that article, blanket is an article.
Oh, you're arguing that the blanket would be an article of nighttime. Okay.
According to those people.
Yeah. So according to the ones that says it was required, you would have to wear it. If that's a shita, you wanted to say what? You said Kesut Laila also. I don't know of anyone that does put tzitzit on their blankets. Do they put it on the blankets?
Snuggie.
Yeah.
I just heard like 6 months ago or months ago.
Now, one thing for sure that would apply would be shatnez. So shatnez there that would be a problem if you have a mixture of wool and I don't know when with a wool blanket and sweat at night. But okay, but that would be something definitely. We have an article of clothing covering you, but it's a good question. Maybe when we'll look at the Ksut Yom Ksut Laila, we'll see if we can find some psak that insinuates what to do in that case. But it's a good question. Now the Gemara does say because the Chachamim are at odds whether the mitzvah tzitzit is a chovat gavra, who means an obligation on the person, or a chovat chefza, an obligation on the item itself, right? So we're going to see now that if it's a chovat gavra, then for sure there is no issue with. I don't think there's an issue with the blanket. If it's a chepsa, maybe you would have to put one on. But let's see what he says. Gemara says, Masechet Menachot Membet, Rav Nachman Ashkechel Rav Ada Bar Abba. Rav Nachman found Rav Ada Bar Abba. Rameh Chuteh, he was affixing strings to a garment. V'kam mevarech la'asot tzitzit. And he was saying a bracha la'asot tzitzit, to prepare fringes. Amalei, my tzitzi shemana. What is it tzitzi sound that I hear? He was making fun of him. Hachi amarav tzitzit en tzicha bracha. That these fringes don't require a blessing when you're attaching them. Ubetzitzit b'haika mipalge. With regards to the blessing when one attaches tzitzit, The machloket is mar savar chovat talitu. One says, Rav Ada Bar Abba says it's an obligation pertaining to the cloak, and therefore when you're putting on tzitzit on the cloak, you have to say a bracha la'asot tzitzit. And mar savar chovat gavrahu. And the Rav holds that it's an obligation upon the man, and therefore the mitzvah is not complete until you actually wear the garment, and only then do you say the beracha. Okay? Says the Shulchan Aruch posek, tzitzit chovat gavrahu. Tzitzit is an obligation on the person, velo chovat mana, and not an obligation upon the object, and as long as you're not wearing the garment. Shekos man sheno lovesh atalit patur mitzitzit. As long as you're not wearing the talit, it is patur. Ufichach eno mevarech al asiyat tzitzit she'en mitzvah ela belivishato. Therefore, we do not say the bracha upon making the tzitzit because it's a mitzvah only to wear it.
I feel like years ago when I was in camp, we were making tzitzit, and at every knot we said a bracha.
No, you probably said Hashem tzitzit or something.
Oh, is that what it was? It wasn't a full bracha.
Yeah, you probably.
Maybe it was Hashem mitzvah tzitzit or something.
Yeah, l'shem mitzvah tzitzit.
Maybe that's what it was.
L'shem.
It's a long time.
You got to do that. That's a big thing, actually. That's especially when you're fixing tefillin, or fixing sefer Torah. You have to say l'shem mitzvah ktivat sefer Torah, l'shem because that's not very lishma. You need kavanah to, especially if it's broken. Meaning the tzitzit, if the sefer Torah is not kosher, and now it's pasul, and you are fixing it, every letter counts. Right. So if you're not having the proper kavanah, then your sefer Torah is invalid. That's the biggest. That's why we always say that you have to make sure you buy your tefillin and your mezuzot from a sofer sam that's kasher, that is reliable, knows all the halachot. And you hear people, they go to the mikveh constantly before they write Hashem's name. Like, these are people, God-fearing Jews. They have the right proper kavanah. So even when you're making the tzitzit, it's a Hashem mitzvah tzitzit, and you're doing it, right?
Also, so there's a big,
yeah.
When I was learning how to tie, I walked videos from random people. They're like, "This is how you tie though." Well, the big question is now that all of these talits and tzitziot are made with machinery. All right. So what happens over there? Now that's not handmade, right? So there's always one process. Video on it. There's Torah Live. Torah Live is a great website to show things how they make it. And they show there's certain parts that there's a human element in it, and they will say l'shem mitzvah tzitzit when making the tzitzit. It has to be done. Okay. Moving on to Kesut Yom and Kesut Laila. Let's read the introduction here. Another related question regarding the mitzvah tzitzit and the scope of the obligation relates to the timing of the mitzvah. Does the mitzvah wearing tzitzit apply at night or just in the daytime? Does it depend upon whether the garment which is subject to the obligation is designed to be worn specifically during the day or at night? And we're going to see the Gemara Masechet Menachot. The Gemara states that a nighttime garment is exempt from the obligation of tzitzit because of the words uritem oto. And this is why Rabbi Shimon also says that women are exempt because tzitzit are considered a time-bound mitzvah. So let's look at the Gemara. Masechet Menachot Daf Mem Gimel Amud Aleph. Rabbi Shimon poter benashim. Rabbi Shimon deems women exempt because the mitzvah of tzitzit is a time-bound mitzvah. It's only done during the day when you're wearing a four-corner garment, and therefore women are paturot. The Tanya, as the pasuk says, uritem oto. This is when you shall see it. That means during the day. Prat lechasot laila. This excludes every a nighttime garment because it's dark at night. They're difficult to see. Now, what does that mean? A nighttime garment. Ask the Gemara. Ata omer prat lechasut laila or eno ela prat lechasut suma. Maybe the word uritem oto. Do you mean to say that it excludes a nighttime garment, or it excludes the garment of a blind person who is also unable to see? Maybe that garment is patur from the tzitzit because the blind man can't see, so he can't fulfill uritem oto to see it. So maybe that's what the pasuk means. So Gemara answers, Keshehu omer asher techaseh ba, when the pasuk says the covering of which you cover yourself, harek sut suma amud. That's the garment of a blind person is included. So that meaning even a blind person who covers himself regularly, he's chayav in tzitzit because he wears garments that covers him.
Hamani mekayem uritem oto. So therefore, what is the meaning of the words uritem oto? Prat lechasot liksut laila. It's in reference to excluding a nighttime garment. So Gemara asks, what did you see that led you to include the garment of a blind person from the phrase cover yourself and exclude a nighttime garment from the pasuk uritem oto? Maybe it's the other way around. So Gemara answers, I want to include the garment of a blind person because it's visible to other people, even though he cannot see it. And I exempt a nighttime garment where other people cannot see the nighttime garment because it's dark. All right, so that's the Gemara in Masechet Menachot. So comes the Tur. Tur says, big machloket between the Tur and the Rambam. We're going to see both of them right now. The Tur and the Rambam were both Rishonim. So the Tur quotes his father, the Rosh, V'adoni avi piresh, she'eno mema'et el aksut hamyuchad lelayla. That it only excludes a garment specifically worn at night. She'oto patur afilu im lovsho bayom. That garment is exempt from tzitzit even if you were to wear them during the day. So if I wear pajamas during the day, and there's 4 corners on the pajamas, I would not have to put tzitzit on those 4 corners if I wear them during the day. If I wear them at night, for sure I don't have to put them on, right? But even if I wear them during the day, that's a chidush of the Tur. Uksut hamyuchad layom, but if you have a garment that is specific and designated for the day, or layom or lalayla, or you have a garment that is both worn day and night, chayav afilu lovso balayla v'yesh levarech alav, he's subject to putting on tzitzit, and he even says it's not what we follow, but even says you say a beracha on it. So meaning according to the Torah, it implies that you would be saying a beracha even at night on your tzitzit if it's something that is a garment that's worn both during the day and your night. So one can argue today, maybe there's people that wear pajamas during the day. I don't think so. Although there are a lot of crazy people out there, and there's companies that might have pajama day, and certainly at school we have pajama day. But generally, pajamas is a nighttime garment and accepted worldwide as a nighttime garment. Or you might have these nightgowns that ladies wear. I don't know if there's some for men, but whatever it is, if it's a nighttime garment and you decide you want to wear it during the day and it has 4 corners, you are exempt from tzitzit. Okay.
According to him.
According to him, blanket would for sure be. Yes. Comes the Rambam in number 15. Rambam says, Mutar le'adam lilbos tzitzit balayla ben b'chol ben b'shabbat. A person is permitted to wear tzitzit at night, during the day, weekdays and on Shabbat. Ve'af al pi she'eno zmana, and even though it's not the right time, ubilvad shelo yivarech, on condition that he does not say a beracha. Ve'kol zman shemit'atef ba bayom mevarech alea kodem she'it'atef. And whenever he's going to wear it during the day, that's when he says the beracha. The Shulchan Aruch brings both opinions, but does not take a side. Okay? So again, the Rambam says, regardless of what type of garment is worn.
The Rambam didn't talk about a nighttime garment.
He says you could wear it, but you just don't say a bracha. He says you could wear it.
He's talking about he's not talking about a specific nighttime thing.
He doesn't differentiate. He says just with regard to a bracha, there's no bracha. Mashen Ken, the Torah says there's a bracha. Okay? Right. So Shulchan Aruch brings down, it seems to imply both opinions. Let's see what he says. Laila loves man tzitzitu. Nighttime is not the proper time for tzitzit. Because it is excluded from the words uritemoto. Leharambam, according to the Rambam, kol ma shelovesh balayla patur, anything that one wears at night is exempt. Afilu hu miyuchad leyom, even if it is designated to be worn during the day. So the Shulchan Aruch is saying, quoting the Rambam, that opposite what the Torah said. The Torah says if it was something that is day and night, you have to wear it. You have to have tzitzit on at night. Okay? The Rambam says no. Anything that you wear at night, even if you wear it during the day, is patur.
There's no bracha.
No, for sure no bracha. It's patur.
There's no obligation to have tzitzit on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uma shelovesh bayom, and what you wear during the day, chayav afilu miyuchad balayla, even if it's designated for wearing at nighttime. So meaning, if you're wearing your pajama during the day, you have to put it on tzitzit according to Rambam. That's what. So Rambam says, what time of day are you wearing this garment? If you're wearing it during the day, you have to put on tzitzit. You're wearing it at night, you don't have to wear a tzitzit. But it's a nighttime garment, and I'm wearing it during the day, doesn't matter. You're wearing it during the day, you have to put on tzitzit, which is different than what the Tur said. Well, what the Tur said in the name of his father, Rosh, and quotes Rosh. Rosh, ksutam yuchal alayla, patur afilu bayom. If it's a pajama, even if you're wearing it the day, it's patur. But he doesn't tell you what to do. He doesn't tell. He's just quoting both opinions over here. What's the law? So that's why the Ramah comes and says, top of 109, safek brachot la'akel. The safek, in a situation where we're not sure, it's safek brachot la'akel with regards to the bracha. Akel en levarech alav elak shelovesh bayom behu miyuchad gam ken layom. And that's how we follow. We only say a bracha when you're wearing it during the day, and it's a daytime garment. Then we know, because everybody holds that wearing during the day a daytime garment, it is you have to put it on, and that's the only time we would say a bracha. The Kaf HaChaim here says, he has a question. Ksut hamyuchad leisha. If you have a lady's clothing, imitatef bo ish. If a man wants to wear it, okay, which is a problem. That's another. But let's say he's wearing it and it's four corners. Irashai belot tzitzit. Is it allowed? Is he allowed to walk around with that without tzitzit? So he quotes a few rabbis and says,
"Yeah,
no. What?
According to what we just said, no.
A women's garment during the day.
Yeah, because that's not chayav tzitzit.
She's not chayav tzitzit, but he is. So now he's wearing those very long shawls, scarves that cover most of their body. Women do that a lot. Okay? It's cold outside. Winter. I can't find my scarf. You have one? Okay? You have tzitzit on it? You have tzitzit on it, right? Okay. So maybe you got to put tzitzit on it. You ask? You ask if you got to put tzitzit?
Because it's not, I don't know, it's a scarf, technically, I don't know.
Okay. Anyways, he can't find his scarf. His wife has this very long scarf-looking material. It's his wife's clothing, okay? And he's wearing it. Does he require tzitzit on it or not? So he writes over here, Yesh la'asot bo keren achat agula kedei leinatim nasafek. Round off one of the corners, so that's not square, and now you have no safek. I won't say that online.
So he's saying it's because the Rosh wouldn't do it, and the Rambam would do it. Is that why he's saying that?
The Rosh
wouldn't put it.
Why not?
Because a woman's not chayav. It's not a garment that needs. It would be like nighttime garment because it's not a garment that needs to be because they're not.
I think it's irrelevant of nighttime and non-nighttime. This is just a question that he has separately. He said wearing during the day. It's a daytime garment wearing during the day. People are not wearing their scarf at night, so it's the daytime garment. Right? Yes.
Do we mention before that blind people are also obligated to work towards tzitzit?
Yes.
So why are they obligated towards tzitzit if the whole purpose of wearing tzitzit is to remind you of all the mitzvot that you have to keep? And blind people are exempt from most of the mitzvot.
They're not exempt from most of the mitzvot, and there is no one Jew that can fulfill all 613 mitzvot.
No, but a person who isn't blind has the ability to fulfill all 613.
No, can't. You're a Kohen?
I guess you're right.
Right? You're not a Kohen. So I'm not a Kohen, and therefore I can't fulfill all 613. But there's this inyan of zechira, of called the mitzvot, of remembering all the mitzvot. Even when you study the mitzvot, it's kilu you mekayem the mitzvah. Right? So that's the power of tzitzit. So now, do I need to sleep with tzitzit on? So that's what the Ramah brings down. V'yesh shekatvu shenagu shelo lishkav betalit sheyesh bo tzitzit. Some write that it's customary not to sleep in a garment that contains tzitzit, but the Mishnah Brura here quotes the Arizal, very famous Arizal. B'kitvei Arizal katuv al pi asod sheyesh lishkav balayla betalit katan. That a person should sleep with the talit katan at night. So notes here at 7 and 8 at the bottom. The reason why a person should sleep with tzitzit is a great segula to save oneself from impure forces at night and protects body and soul. The Arizal attempts to prove his position from a statement in the Gemara that David HaMelech cried out when entering the bathhouse that he was naked without any mitzvah because he removed his tzitzit. Though the Gemara does not state that he made the same exclamation every night when he went to sleep. This indicates that he did, in fact, wear tzitzit when sleeping. That was the Arizal's proof. However, the Magen Avraham and Eliyah Rabbah, who dismissed the proof of the Arizal, see Rav Shmuel Wozner suggests that even the Shulchan Aruch HaRav, who often follows the Arizal, holds that wearing tzitzit while sleeping is permitted, but it is not a mitzvah. I know some people that do wear it. I think most people I know don't wear it, but nevertheless, that's what it is. Okay, we're going to stop here for tonight because the next section is a little bit long. We'll start fresh, B'ezrat Hashem. No class next week, but we'll come back and we'll reconvene together. Have a good night, everybody. Take care.